Every week, there is another news story about how companies are planning massive layoffs. Every single job now, it's not just you apply and you go through a couple of interviews. It's like interview, do you gel with the team? Let's do a panel. Now you have to do a presentation of free work for us. Then you have to talk to like the executive on the team. It takes longer than a month, and half of them are scams, half of them aren't real. They're just trying to see what the interest is and how low they can get the salary. Is the incentive a desperate workforce?
I mean, yeah, think about it. I've seen so many freaking videos of just fake job postings so that the company looks like they're growing and they have a lot of jobs open, right? And this is a huge problem in the tech industry. I used to work in tech for like a year and 8 months, and then I left because I'm just not built for it. I'm not that insane, okay? And also it was a horrible job and very low pay, minimal wage pay as a software engineer, insane. And that's basically what they did. First, I had a contract for 3 months. Then I had a contract for 9 months, and then they gave me a contract for uh, I don't know, almost a year or something. No, 3 months, 6 months, and then a year, right? So a year and 9 months I worked at that company. Before every contract, they would tell me that I would get a raise and all this stuff. I would do extra stuff that wasn't included in the job post. And I'm noticing this in a lot of other companies that I used to interview in. Basically, they're just trying to like, they know that there's tons of desperate people trying to find a job, especially in those kinds of fields, and there's multiple of those kinds of fields, right? Tons of people just trying to desperately find a good paying job, and now these good paying, that used to be good paying jobs, they're abusing the system. Of course they are. That's how businesses are. They look to maximize profit margins and cut costs as much as possible. And one of those costs are you, the employer, the employee. You should make as much for them as possible and pay it as low as possible. It is how it is.
Any of the tech workers still unemployed from the mass layoffs, have y'all been getting feelers sent out by recruiters yet? Suddenly, I have a lot of recruiters in my inbox for contract work, 6 months to 1 year at
Really?
a time, but they are all hiring for a ridiculously low hourly rate. So jobs that I used to go on where I would be making $50 to $70 an hour are now hiring for $25 to $30 an hour, which is about the same amount that I make doing retail management work, except with my retail manager's job, I at least get benefits. And now I'm sitting here with interviews from the big five that offer the same amount as my retail job, but I mean less, honestly, because I don't get health insurance, I don't get benefits, and I don't get paid time off.
I mean, listen, usually contract work, as far as I know, I have friends that used to work as freelancers. Some of them still do it. A lot of them do a lot of contract work, right? Usually, contractors are, paid way more. You choose, as a company chooses a specific, he is like an employee, but he is on a very short contract. He's just on some time frame where he has to finish and work on some type of project, and he is or she is usually paid way more because it's not an official employee for the company, doesn't have all these health insurance and all of this stuff as the guy mentioned. And well, now that shows you if they're paying contractors that amount, that means that they're paying their employees probably less. And the fact that there's so many people that are desperate for jobs and so many mass layoffs and all of this, uh, I know a lot of companies lay off a lot of people just then hire for the same positions for a lower, I was gonna say a lower price, a lower salary. I've seen it in a few companies. It just, and a lot of those kinds of strategies might also be with the contract work. It's just my guess, right?
I just got laid off. I was laid off from my outpatient job and I was working in a NICU follow-up clinic. I have never experienced something like this before. I have a lot of feelings about this. I think the biggest one I'm feeling though is disappointment and I'm a little bit angry. This is the
Yeah.
first time where I have seen with my own eyes that we treat healthcare like a business. Sucks because at the end of the day, the people who are suffering.
Trust me, I've heard so many stories of they have the vaccine or something for some virus, but they're not doing it on purpose. because they want to make money out of it. And the fast food industry and what they're advertising and all of this, it benefits them, and it also benefits the healthcare because they're making money. You know what I mean? It's a business. It's more about the business than it's about the actual health of the population. These are just conspiracy stories that I've heard.
Suffering this layoff the most isn't me. It's not.
I
the
hope it's not
nurses,
like
although,
that.
Yes, we are suffering. It's the kids.
The concept of a take-home project during an interview process is so wild to me. Companies are asking candidates to do strategy decks, case
I've had probably 20 take-home projects in the span of 3 years. I'm no longer trying to get into tech, but
studies, sometimes hours of work just to maybe make it to the next round of interview. As a recruiter, I've seen both sides of this. I know that companies want to see how you think, but some of these assignments feel like straight up unpaid consulting. Like, why are candidates solving your business problems before they even have a job? And the sad thing is that candidates right now are so desperate that they'll actually work on these projects for hours just to maybe get ghosted on Monday.
I mean, listen, here's the thing. In certain fields, like again in tech, even if you're not employed, you're supposed to be making projects and learning and doing stuff all the time, 24/7. So at least this is just a project. A take-home project, in my opinion, isn't really that bad. It should be reasonable, something that should be done for someone with that level of experience in like a day or two. That's it, right? But at the end of the day, now that there's AI, a lot of these projects are being built like just like that, and then they're sus. They're suspicious of you, and they don't know who to call. So they basically call a lot of people for interviews, and then in the interviews, you notice that a lot of people don't really know their stuff, and even the people that actually know their stuff, well, you're not gonna pay them a good amount as a business owner. You know what I mean? It's a lose-lose situation, man.
I honestly think these companies are using interviewees to mine for ideas, for strategies. My husband has been looking for work. 3 of these interviews have stuck out to me. They've gone all the way through like 5th round interviews and 6th round interviews. During these interviews, each company has asked him to solve a hypothetical situation for their company and asked him to present to their...
At that point, fuck it. I'm just gonna go and work in a casino, okay? A car dealer or something, what it's called, in a casino. I think they, as far as I've heard, those people make a good amount of money. It can be very mentally taxing. You're in a casino in a closed-off space. You gotta be in this freaking the outfit and so on, and you're probably around like business people, but also a lot of drug dealers and insane people, and
C-suite executives,
poker leads,
how they
something
would
like
solve
that.
this, what type of strategy would they use, would he use, that type of thing.
But I would do that.
You know, spend a
Fuck
week
6
creating
interviews.
a deck, and the CEO's there, and the hiring manager, and then like 10 other people are there, and everybody's really engaged, and they ask a ton of questions and things like that. So my husband thinks the interview went really well, and then the end of the week comes, nothing. He's completely ghosted.
I'm not gonna lie, one of the rare stuff that I can praise myself on is that I tend to be very calm. I like just reject being combative, shouting, all of this stuff, right? And usually there isn't that much rage in me. When I listen to all of this, that shit hit me personally because I've been on so many interviews, 3rd and 4th especially interviews at the same company, and I'm just getting ghosted. Built a project, did the interviews, paid for the drive to the company, paid for the freaking a parking spot, did all of this just to get ghosted, or to get an email of can we save your personal details from the interviews so we can have you as a potential candidate if we have a potential new job offer in the future. Yep, the type of shit that makes me want to jump in a volcano. Not gonna lie. Italy isn't that far from me. I should, take a plane, maybe jump off in Vesuvius. Was Vesuvius in Italy? Probably.
The amount of new hires that are being thrown into these roles and given zero training, I mean,
Yeah.
onboarding is so important. I mean, just the basics. I mean, anything. But I understand why it's happening. Those employees that had all the knowledge, that were probably holding a lot on their plate, probably doing way too much for way too little, money, left, and they took all that knowledge with them. Now the company's like, we don't really know how to do the job, but we believe this person will figure it out. And then it's like in a couple weeks or months, and they're like, oh, you haven't figured it out? Oh, okay, you're not going to be.
When it comes to a small company or something, usually huge companies don't have these kinds of problems. When it comes to small companies, small businesses, you always gotta have a manager or the CEO that knows all the basics and to onboard you for at least a few days minimum. Or give me here's an idea for all you idiots that run small companies like this and stuff like this ends up, right, happening. Have a manager or yourself, or a manager, right? You just need one video, just one video. You record the manager or yourself, everything, how everything is done in the job, the paperwork. If it's a warehouse job or something, you show what has to go, whatever, right? How everything works. You basically at least give them a video. It can be an hour long. I don't give a damn, and just send it to them and tell them, you see this? Watch this as many times as possible. And if you have any more complex questions, of course you gotta have a manager or the CEO, depends on how big the company is, the business is, for you to get your questions answered, right? At least do that for the freaking minimum. You need us to do all this AI stuff, to know all these tools. But you can't just make a simple freaking video to help us out, for crying out loud, man.
I was told that I wasn't meeting expectations in my most recent meeting, and I am baffled and have to share this. My manager told me that my work wasn't enough, like what I had done wasn't enough, but I literally have the transcript in my app to our past meeting where I was recognized in front of all of my coworkers for getting everything done before anyone expected me to. So I don't understand how last week it was great and I was exceeding expectations, and now I'm getting told I'm not meeting expectations. But it's really funny because we're right at that time where we're supposed to go up for bonuses. I can't believe they're trying to gas.
I was about to say that. It's probably because they're planning to fire you or something. Or there's something coming up with bonuses or something. So they want you throughout, when you actually have work in an important project that makes them a lot of freaking money, they're going to praise you and feed you with all of this confidence and motivation to continue working this probably horrible job, let's be honest, most of the time. And then when you ask for a salary or potential bonus season comes, I guess, whatever you want to call it, or they want to fire you because you got the project done and now you're useless for them and you're just a prop for them. That's all they see you as. That's what they say. That's what they do. Even if you are actually doing a great job. It's how companies are. It's how businesses work. I really want to be a businessman. I really don't want to be this kind of a businessman, but I get why they do the stuff they do. And of course, I disagree with them, but it's just how it is. It is how it is, man. At least I was gonna say, at least there's no slavery these days in the West, right? Because that's much worse, obviously. But this is like the modern, not really slavery. I can't compare it to slavery, but it's like the modern way to keep desperate people in, enslave them in some way, because they won't be able to survive. It's the modern, but you have the freedom to build your own business and have multiple jobs. So it's not really, you know what I mean.
Coming out of COVID during the Great Resignation, we're all familiar with that at this point, there was essentially an arms race for talent. And now that things have cycled and they need to offset some of this headcount, so they start doing all the layoffs, right? But now as people come back in, they're like, you know what? We don't want to pay them as much anymore. And now's a really, really good time not to pay as much because you have so many desperate people out there that we're going to find someone who's willing to take less money. And in doing that, it's not just a short-term fix. They're actually resetting the market. So just because you got a job in 2022 making $100,000, that same job today may pay 75 or 80. Hard stop.
So this is what my dad said. My dad, he runs an agricultural pharmacy type business, right? He told me about this. He was like, listen, the all the negative sides, the horrible sides of COVID, this was like in 2020, 2021. This is when he was telling me this. He was like, trust me, the bad times, oh, they're just, you think these are the horrible bad times? Yeah, health-wise, now everybody should be cautious, of course. But the actual horrible economic times and job issues, and it's freaking coming. It's gonna last probably a good amount of time. And well, he was right. It's 2026, and that's happening. Inflation is skyrocketing, obviously. Plus, because of certain wars, of course, that brings a lot of products and oil and gas up. But also, back then in COVID, the trend of AI basically didn't exist. These AI stuff and like that we're seeing now, they existed. They weren't as popular and as, I guess, impressive back then, but they still existed, right? And basically in COVID and the years 2021, 2022, huge hiring spree there was. There was a lot of extra money. A lot of companies just wanted to hire as many people as possible so that the other competitor companies don't get their potential great employees, right? So they overhired. And then what happened? Inflation plus overhiring combined, and now we're getting this. We're never going to get back in tech or many other types of sectors. I don't think we're ever going to get back to that level of, at least not for a while. And if AI like actually gets to that point where all these crazy CEOs are saying, we're never going to get to that point where it's much easier to get into whatever job, higher paying. Yeah, that's gonna be a dream of ours till we die. That's at least what I think. Unless you try to do something that's like your own type of business. Easier said than done, but it's much more rewarding. Anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comments. Insane shit. Just corporations are using desperate people and getting away with it. And I'm not surprised. Have a nice day.